watching Sunday Sound Off with Frank Boal.
Welcome back to Sunday Sound Off, and our first hot topic of the night. Ned Yost said today home field advantage for the playoffs is, quote, just a perk. TJ, just a perk?
Well, he cited some pretty significant statistics from last year saying they didn't really need it, but they didn't really need it more than the bare minimum number of games to advance last year either. I'm guessing that's not going to be the case this year. I think that when you're in a situation like the Royals are, where on the road during the regular season, you didn't fare well on the road against the opponent you'll likely face in the postseason. Yeah, home field advantage has some value, especially when your win percentage is as high as it is at home as it is at Kauffman Stadium. I think it's more than just a perk. I think it's something important they need to focus on. It's something that's attainable. And I think that when you have this few games left in the season, why not go for it all?
Nate, is it critical or just like to have it? How do you feel?
I think it's extremely important. I don't know if I'd go as far as to say critical, but I think this year in particular is extremely important. And I know that David Schoenfeld's a guy that we talk to sometimes on our morning show, breaks down some of these numbers. And it really matters if you get to that fifth or seventh deciding game, whichever the length of the series is. And you know, last year the Royals lost Game 7 of the World Series at home. David Schoenfeld pointed out that almost never happens. Usually you get to Game 7 at home, you're the winning team. And I think the reason it matters so much more even this year than it has in the past is because you look at the way these teams that the Royals are likely to face are all built. They are far better at home than they are on the road. The Astros are a terrible road team. They're good at home. The Blue Jays aren't terrible on the road anymore, but they're not nearly as good on the road as they are at home. And oh, by the way, the Royals are a lot better at home than they are on the road because they're built to play in this building. So, look, when you get to a short series, it comes down to fluky things, and who knows if it'll matter or not. But looking at it from the outside going into the postseason, I think it's extremely important.
Saran?
Yeah, well, we know the Blue Jays are stealing signs up there in Toronto, so you don't want to play any games up there. That and the Canadian pharmacies that supply their nutrition, if you get my gist. Everyone hits 10 home runs, and then they're a Blue Jay, and they hit 45. So, you know, we'll figure out that riddle over the next few years when we figure out the new designer drug that they need to test for. But, no, look, it is important. It's very important. Nate's right. This team's built to play in Kansas City. The Yankees, all lefties and switch hitters in their lineup. I think that's a scary proposition there. We know how the Royals have fared in Yankee Stadium. The Blue Jays knocking the ball out of the ballpark, the Rangers, the Astros. The Royals want to play at home. You know, mathematically, the one that's really important, though, if they do lose home field advantage to the Blue Jays, that may not even matter. The Royals got to get to the second round to face the Blue Jays. Blue Jays got to get there. The one that's important, and they're going to have this one, it's the opening round, because the closeout games in the first round are games 3, 4, and 5. All right, so in game 3, if you're on the road, this is the only one where you've actually played more home games as a home team. You get 1 and 2 at home. Game 3 is a closeout game. You're on the road, but you've still had more home games. Game 4, you've had the same amount of games. Game 5, you've had more games again. So in a 7-game series, you don't actually get that advantage till you get all the way to Game 7. So the first round's the important one, and they've got that. All
right, here's our second hot topic of the evening. The Chiefs play the Packers tomorrow night at Lambeau Field. What are their chances? Nate?
Slim to none. No, look, it's the NFL, so you always have a decent chance when you go into these games. But I got to tell you, I mean, first of all, the Green Bay Packers are a really good team. They're fantastic at home, and Aaron Rodgers hasn't thrown a pick at home since 2012. Okay, he's at 44 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. And even if it was on a neutral site, I hate to say this because I do like Alex Smith, but Aaron Rodgers, Alex Smith, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers pretty much every time. And until Alex Smith shows that when he gets into a close game on the road and this team needs a drive at the end of the game to win, I'm going to say they don't have that great of a chance to win in a game like this. I hate to say it, but I think the Chiefs are looking at 1 and 2 and then being 2 games back on the Broncos just 3 weeks into the season.
Wow, Saran?
All right, I'll start pessimistic. We know Alex Smith's going to come out with the dink and dunk fest. That's what he is. I think we can close the book on any opportunity that he's suddenly going to go bombs away and shoot it out with Aaron Rodgers. So the Chiefs going to have to win it on defense, but they can win it on defense. And I give the Chiefs a better chance than Nate does. Not 50-50, but I'll give them 1 and 3. Brian Balaga's down there, right tackle. That means Justin Houston works against a backup. I think there's some things that bode well for the Chiefs. The Packers are coming off a big win last week, so I think there's a potential for them to be down, and it's almost a bye week. All those things, I think, give the Chiefs a puncher's chance in this game.
TJ, old Mr. Positive, what do you think?
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers is a pro football focused nerd's and Vince Lombardi's ghost is going to possess Andy Reid, and he makes some huge mistake, and Lambeau Field's the greatest. Look, I think it comes down to individual matchups, and outside of the quarterback position, I like the Chiefs' odds. I like them a lot. I think that I think Justin Houston and Tom Bahali, the pass rush, can get to Aaron Rodgers. I feel like that the deficiencies we've seen so far this season at stopping the run are going to haunt the Packers. They did pretty well against Seattle, but, I mean, Chicago did whatever they wanted to. And you have one of the best running backs in the league in Jamal Charles, best in the league in space. I think the Chiefs win this game.
So just the stat nerds like Aaron Rodgers, TJ, nobody else does. That's all.
I like Aaron Rodgers, too. He's great.
Let me tell you what TJ's pick is. Throw something on the wall, see if it sticks. If it does, he's a hero, right? If he doesn't, no one remembers.
Right. All the Chiefs fans love him right now, that's for sure. Mizzou lost their first game of the season yesterday to Kentucky. If they lose to South Carolina Saturday, will Gary Pinkel change quarterbacks? Seren?
No, he won't. I mean, should he? Yeah, he shouldn't be messing around with this to begin with. But will he change quarterbacks? No, I don't think so. He's got this system. We've got a plan. We've done this before. You know, we did this with Chase Daniel, and we won 7 games, and that's what we're going to do again. We're going to keep messing around with it. We're going to have the fans boo our starter, and we're going to win our 7 games. That's the way it looked, at least against Kentucky. I don't think he'll change it. Maybe they will win 8 or 9 games, but I still don't like this system, but it doesn't mean he's going to change it.
TJ, you're Mr. SEC. What do you think?
I think Seren's correct that it won't be Matty Mock's last hurrah, but it should be. And I think that once you know what a guy is, and once you come to terms with the fact that this is a rebuilding season for Missouri, I know that a lot of fans don't want to make that concession, but a lot of fans that I've talked to on my show feel like they're ready to make that concession. Drew Lock is the future, and I do expect he will be the starter at some point this season, because even though he doesn't know the whole playbook, even though he doesn't have the experience, and he hasn't looked great down the field so far, Matty Mock is just too inconsistent, and I don't think that's going to change.
And Nate, you got about 30 seconds. What do you think?
Does this not happen every year at Missouri in some way, shape, or form, that when a new quarterback comes in, everybody wants him to take over? I mean, Matty Mock was the guy that everybody wanted to replace James Franklin in the bowl game against Oklahoma State. Now they can't wait to get Matty Mock out. Now, part of the reason is because Mock hasn't gotten better. He's still the same guy that he was a couple of years ago. Drew Lock still has that promise. But my question is, if they make the change, can he really fix this offense? Because they have a lot of other problems. They're having a tough time running the football right now. The wide receivers aren't catching the football. The offensive line is struggling. Drew Lock, I think, will take over at some point this season. But I think you wait. You don't have him rescue the season now, because I think it's asking too much, as good as Drew Lock might become.
All right, thanks, Nate. Up next, we're going to get some final thoughts from the panel. It's their time to sound off on anything that's on their minds. You're watching Sunday Sound Off.